How great to be celebrating New World's first 50 years.
One morning, about 50 years ago or plus, I was taking the boys to Mother's Day out at First Methodist Church and ran into Dr. Fallon. I asked him what the sign at Rocky Canyon and Davis meant about a new United Methodist Church. And he looked at me and he said, "Keep your lives open."
I remember in the beginning Dr. Fallon coming to visit and inviting my family and I to join him in a new venture. Dr. Fallon was such an inspiration. He had a way of making the Bible come to life. He had a vision, new ideas, new plans, and always moving forward.
Started when Dr. Fallon moved from First Methodist Church to start the new United Methodist Church here in North Arlington. Our first meeting was at Ramada Inn, and it was a great time and a great, exciting time to start a new church.
I will never forget his coming into the sanctuary dressed totally as though he were Peter or Paul or Moses or some other biblical character, telling us about Christ, never losing his biblical identity the whole morning.
One of them was the Porter Cribs. We lived in Arlington, and I owned a pickup with a cap on the back. It was useful to carry the Porter Cribs we'd stored in our garage to the Ramada Inn and later to Butler Grade School. After the services, I'd reload them in the pickup, return them to my garage.
Later, I was asked to go to the Fallon home for the first United Methodist Women's meeting. It was an organizational meeting, and we talked about the history and the mission of United Methodist Women, because we had some who'd never participated in that.
As a young girl, my daughter Susan always enjoyed performing. She got a chance to do just that when she was asked to be an angel in the Christmas Nativity play in 1975. She was only 5 and took it very seriously. She practiced for days, holding her hands up to welcome the shepherds and the wise men.
Yes, every year on June the 16th, when we had our anniversary of the church, we would have an all-church picnic on our property of 5 acres across the street from the church. And the kids loved it because they could run free and wild.
After the name was chosen, New World, Dr. Fallon asked Johnny Weathered to design a cross, the symbol of our church, which you see that I have a necklace, and there is the cross behind me.
Later, I helped to select the type of chairs I thought we should afford, or could afford. There were orange plastic backs and seats with chrome piping for legs. They were known as the Orange Beauties, and we expected them to last about 5 years. They lasted over 30.
Also in 1975, Bob and I were privileged to be the youth counselors with the help of Bob and Shirley Rundell. It was great fun to be with the youth every Sunday evening.
We were at Ramada Inn for a while and finally moved to Butler Elementary, which put us a little closer to this site that we were going to start. And the great memory I have from there is our walk and parade from Butler Elementary after one of the sermons to this land, and we stood in a big rectangle around what would be our first building site.
We also had family janitor duties. We would take turns helping clean the church before the services and whatever else needed to be done after the services. So it is a family affair to go to this church.
The first time that we all met, I said, now we don't have a name for this choir yet. Would we like to name it ourselves, since you all are the oldest to do? And finally somebody spoke up and said, well, we get to name ourselves. let's be super singers. I said, oh, I think that's a great name because I want everything you do to be super. Because we do this all, this is our tribute to God.
But the best memory was when New World hired my dad to be the first associate pastor at the end of 1980. My dad, Reverend H. DeWitt Seago, visited the members of the church, potential members, and members in the hospital. It was his special gift. My mom, Roberta Seago, loved singing in the choir and playing bells. She took her music for bells home and used glass Coke bottles to practice her part for the bell choir.
In late 1980s, Sherry became the youth director, and I, helping her, she built the youth program with had choirs and bell choir, and we had youth on Sunday night on our UMYF times, and great fellowship.
And everybody got to write on the floor their favorite Bible verse, and so you could find if there was some special thing you did in the worship service, and you wanted to put it in the spot where you did your thing, you could, or if you wanted to put it somewhere else, that was okay, because that was all going to be covered up. We would just know it was there, and if you could put it down. And I can remember that what I put down was under where the organ was going to be when we set it in its place was, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
I want to thank everyone working to keep New World going. And now we have the next 50 years to look forward to with new plans and ideas. I'm wishing you love and joy.